Well, I've been asking Barroso and Van Rompuy time and again, what is Plan B? You know, if there is a major Greek default or Portuguese default, you know, what happens the day after everything stopped working? And time and again their answer is there is no Plan B because there is no prospect of failure. Now that begins to look to be not just stupid, but actually irresponsible. So what we did last week here in Brussels is we held a seminar as the EFD group. We had a couple of German professors, both economists, both talking about how a currency would leave the Eurozone, what steps would be necessary to stop massive capital flight from that country, and just to try and to start to map out an alternative plan for countries that decide they simply can't stay part of this thing. And so I think we're the good Europeans, because we're the ones actually looking to the future and saying, look, these countries are trapped inside an economic prison. It's dreadful for them. Their people are out on the streets rioting. Let's think about a better solution. So I was very, very pleased and proud that our group did that. I think the problem with being a Eurozone leader at the moment is that there are only two leaders that really count. It's France and Germany. It's the big countries, it's the founders of the project, they're the ones whose views seem to matter very much more. So if you were a leader of a small Eurozone country, you know, no one's really terribly interested in what you have to say. Mrs. Merkel, I think, is in the most fascinating position, because one part of her strongly believes in the European project, and she wants it to be stronger and bigger, and yet the other half of her looks at what is happening in Germany, not just with public populist opinion, but even up to the president of the German state, who has said, look, we're doing things here that are actually quite worrying in democratic terms. And that's why she can't support the Eurobond idea. It's why she can't really push for a full fiscal and political union. So my guess is that we will go on in this Eurozone crisis with little bits more power being taken by the European institutions, but effectively what the outside world will see is indecision. And there is a very big danger in this. The big danger is that at some point in time, this crisis just becomes so big. You know, it starts to affect Spain or perhaps even Italy, or who knows. I mean, if we go through this new bailout package, even France may lose its AAA rating. And we may get to a stage where the scale of the problem just engulfs and dwarfs these institutions. And my feeling, very strongly, is that what we are doing to try and save the Eurozone and to try and save some banks that are frankly bankrupt already is just making this problem far, far worse. This use of this word solidarity, it's completely meaningless. What it actually means is surrendering democracy and giving power over to people like my old friend Herman Van Rompuy. I mean, unelected people. I find the whole thing bizarre. Look, we haven't got a European state. We're not Europeans. We're British, we're French, we're Dutch, we're Danish, we're whatever we are. The overwhelming majority of European people want a cooperation, want a trade area, think it's sensible to agree a few common minimum standards and to work together as friends and colleagues, but not to transfer control of our states to somebody else. And I think what this Eurozone crisis actually is doing is dividing Europe. Because in Athens, they're burning European flags with swastikas drawn on them, and in Germany, they're slagging off the Greeks and saying they're lazy and useless and corrupt. And what the euro is actually doing is making us dislike each other, rather than pulling us all together into one. So frankly, you know, the direction that the European leaders are taking us in is a complete fool's paradise. We are not going to have a single unified state. It won't work. We may well be. I think the difficulty with this is, with any financial crisis, you can never quite tell exactly how it's going to break or when it's going to break. But I think you can be pretty certain that it is going to break.